So we had that trend of people quitting YouTube, and then we had the trend of people talking about people quitting YouTube. Here's something in between. I want to talk about this whole creator economy YouTuber situation that we're in right now, because it seems like a lot of people are confused as to what to do, where to do it, and how to do it. I got an email from someone this morning asking my opinion on the current situation, so I had a little think about it, and here are my thoughts. Today I have a whiteboard, so I'm hoping for this to be fun and engaging for everybody involved. Now, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, or you have a YouTube channel and you're thinking about quitting it altogether, I do have probably a useful answer for you, which I'll get to in a moment. But first, we need to have a look at what's actually going on in the world of YouTube and what makes YouTube YouTube. So the first thing that I want to note is that YouTube is a means for distribution. That means that YouTubers aren't exactly an original thing. Like, the name YouTuber is original, but what you see on YouTube is not original. If we look at travel vloggers on YouTube, that was rooted in traditional travel media. It was a travel brochure, or it was the travel agent that you went into, or it's that TV show that would document some broadcaster going to Spain and she tells you all of the amazing things that you can do, and it's this much per night per person and blah blah blah. All YouTube has done is allowed the everyday person like you and me the opportunity to go and be a travel broadcaster. Or when it comes to financial advisors, I know all of the YouTube channels that talk about finance, they say not financial advice, but at the end of the day, they're educating people on finance, and then people can now go and make their own investments because of all of these new technologies, like these new trading platforms. And the whole financial advisor coming to your house in the evening time when everyone's finished work and telling you where to invest here and there, it's just not necessary anymore, because we have the means of distribution that YouTube provides, and so we can consume more, and so it's just easier to access information. It's the same with comedy entertainment or drama. You could go to an actual theater where you could see a play. Then it got to the point where screen was a thing, and you could watch things in a movie theater, and then you could watch it on the television, and then you could watch it on Netflix, on your laptop, and on YouTube. But ultimately, YouTube doesn't really have a whole lot to do with comedy. It's just the means for distribution. Here's some of our favorite YouTubers: Dan Co, Better Ideas, Hamza. What do they all have in common? Biceps. No, what they all have in common, aside from their quite nice physiques, is that they are communicating knowledge that they have cultivated over their life, and they happen to communicate it through YouTube. But what you might notice about Hamza and Dan Co is that they actually have their own platforms where they also communicate their knowledge. For them, if YouTube died tomorrow, they still have quite a lot in terms of the equity that they've built, the audience that they've built, and they've migrated them elsewhere. Now, Better Ideas, on the other hand, from what I can understand and just looking in his descriptions, he makes his money from sponsorships and ad revenue, which means that there's less equity built for him. And so if YouTube did die tomorrow, he may have a harder time to gain revenue, because his YouTube is his main revenue source. Whereas for the other guys, YouTube is more or less their marketing. So it's the top end of their funnel. Now, there is the argument that in an ideal scenario, you would not be dependent on YouTube for your revenue, and YouTube would simply be a tool that you use to further your income streams. And the way that looks in real life is you would have a business already on the ground. So like, let's say you're a landscaper. So you've got a landscaping company, and then you decide, I want to start creating content to promote my services as a landscaper, or to promote my consulting. So then you start making content about landscaping. In the meantime, you've still got your company on the ground going around doing landscaping maintenance, whatever it might be. And so if your YouTube channel isn't growing or it's stagnant, it doesn't really matter, because you still have the nuts and bolts of your business on the ground, which is you going to people's houses and looking after their gardens or whatever. So while yes, there are people that have kind of, more or less built their careers on YouTube, those are the people that are going to, I suppose, suffer the most in the event that YouTube does crash and burn. But to summarize this point, if you don't want to be dependent on the algorithm, have your business elsewhere first, and then use
YouTube as a tool. Like if somebody gave you a screwdriver and a bunch of materials, but you didn't actually have the instructions to build the thing, it's going to be quite difficult for you. YouTube is the screwdriver. You still need the knowledge and the expertise and the understanding of what your vision is in order to create something successful out of it. So with that in mind, let's move on to leverage. Now, leverage refers to how much effort you need to put in order to get results. The beauty of having a YouTube channel with lots of viewers is that you can make one video and then it can reach 1 million people. So the effort required for one video isn't very much, but reaching 1 million people has a lot of potential upside. Obviously, it takes time to build that leverage. It also takes expertise to build that leverage. Now, the issue is that people might look at YouTube and think that YouTube has made them successful. Well, in a sense, it's been a help. I mean, it's distributed their ideas, but if YouTube died tomorrow, they still have the knowledge that they have. And so they can easily go and build something elsewhere. In a sense, we could call YouTube rented land. Don't build a house on rented land. If you are renting land and then you go and build a house on it, you invest all of this money and time and energy into a house. And that's great. But then if the landlord comes and says, you need to get out of my land, then you're kind of screwed because you can't say no because you don't own the land. You may own the house, but the land is not yours. So in this metaphor, your knowledge, your content, the ideas that you come up with, that is the house that you have built. However, you've built it on the land of YouTube, and YouTube can delete itself tomorrow, in which case your house goes with it. But you still know how you made the house, so you can still go and make a house elsewhere. So if you've been successful on YouTube, whether YouTube exists tomorrow or the next day, doesn't really matter. Whether YouTube decides to keep pushing your stuff doesn't matter. If you're still creating quality information or quality entertaining content, then you have that. Like that is built in to the algorithm of the universe. People are going to want to engage what you have to say. You just have to find a way to get it in front of them. And that's always going to be changing. So it's YouTube today, and maybe it will be YouTube for the next 10 years. It's hard to say. But if you are contemplating quitting YouTube, or if you're contemplating starting YouTube, a better question to ask yourself, rather than will YouTube be alive in the future, or like is YouTube dying, a better question to ask yourself is, do I want to pursue this thing that I want to share on YouTube? Do I want to create travel content? Do I want to continue exploring the world and educating people on the different places they can go? Do I want to continue investing my time and energy into learning about different philosophies and communicating that and synthesizing it and sharing it with other people? If the answer is yes, it doesn't matter if YouTube's here tomorrow, because you are going to find a way to do that. Self-improvement way back in the day, before my time, was going to seminars. There's still seminars now, but like a lot of people are just setting up their camera and starting their self-improvement YouTube channel. And that's great, but the Tony Robbins of the world, they started their self-improvement the old-fashioned way. So if YouTube died tomorrow and you still wanted to educate people on self-improvement techniques, you could rent a hall, you could put up a bunch of posters, and then you could invite people to come and pay you a fee for that. And that's still getting the job done of sharing your knowledge with the world and bettering and improving the lives of other people. So the question that prompted this video, should I quit YouTube or is YouTube changing? Well, I think that's the wrong question. The question ought to be, do I want to do what I'm doing on YouTube? And by that I mean not making the videos. Do I want to be the creator that transmits this knowledge? Do I want to be the comedian that makes comedy sketches? Do I want to be the musician that makes innovative music? Do I want to be the guy that teaches people how to do mathematical equations? If the answer is yes, then don't worry so much about YouTube. The thing is, we can never really know what's going to happen with these things. And by the time there's a consensus on it, it's already too late. There's a certain degree of risk that we need to take if we're going to live this entrepreneurial life, I suppose. And that is kind of what you are if you're on YouTube doing your own thing. Like there is an element of entrepreneurial spirit within you, and part of that is you take risks and you have to be okay with it failing. And
it's really annoying, you know, views going up and down. I am there right now, like my views on this channel are terrible and it's really disheartening. But at the end of the day, I ask myself, well, do I want to do anything else? Like, do I want to go get a job and be safe and this kind of thing? And the answer is no, because my commitment to the world at this point is to entertain and to educate and to inspire. And this is how I want to do it, by communicating with people. You know, maybe there'll come a point where it makes a lot more sense to just put the camera down and go some other direction. But right now, I don't really see that as being the best option for me. So you can only make the decision yourself. If you're willing to go through the dips, if you're willing to fail, and if you're willing to adapt and innovate, then, well, here you are. This is the journey. But it's not really about YouTube. It's about much more than that. And I think we're forgetting that it's not about the platforms. It's about our purpose and the calling. And can we maintain that? Do we have the longevity to continue? And if the answer to that is no, then maybe quitting YouTube is a better option for you. But only you can answer that for yourself. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thanks so much for being here. Links below to all of the things I offer. There's consulting down there as well, since this is kind of a YouTube-y creative discussion. You might be interested in consulting. So yeah, have a good day. Ciao.